The moment that woman's hand connected with my daughter's wheelchair and came within inches of her arm, every sound in that courtroom went silent. The judge froze mid-sentence. The bailiff took one hard step forward. And Patricia Holloway, HOA board president of Maple Crest Commons, stood there with her arms still extended, chest heaving, eyes wide, staring at me like I was the one who had done something wrong. She had no idea who was sitting in the back row. She had no idea my mother had spent 24 years as a CIA counterintelligence analyst. She had no idea my mother had been quietly, methodically building a file on her for 3 months, and she absolutely had no idea that in the next 20 minutes, her entire world was going to collapse. Not because of a dramatic scene, but because of paperwork. It always comes back to paperwork. My name is Marcus Webb. I am a structural engineer. I own my home. I pay my taxes. I coach my daughter's adaptive soccer team on Saturday mornings. 6 weeks after we moved in, I contracted a licensed concrete company to install an approach ramp at the base of our front entry steps. The ramp was professionally designed, code-compliant, and constructed to ADA residential specifications. 3 days later, I got a letter. Dear Mr. Webb, it has come to the attention of the Maple Crest Commons Board of Directors that an unauthorized structure has been installed at your property. Patricia had just issued a fine in direct violation of federal housing law. I scanned the letter, documented the date, and sent a certified response that same week. Her letter stated that my attorney's submission was not a recognized defense under the community's governing instruments, and it included, stapled to the back, a photograph of my ramp, taken from inside my front yard. She had been on my property, taking photographs of my disabled daughter's ramp. My modified accessible vehicle, a full-size van with a factory-installed side entry wheelchair lift, was cited for parking a commercial vehicle in a residential zone. Fine assessed, $200. Along the south side of the house, Lily and I had built a small raised planter bed together. We planted lavender, rosemary, and soft ornamental grass. We placed smooth river stones along the edge. We hung a small set of wind chimes from the corner post. Mr. Webb, I want to be very direct with you. If you genuinely believe that your personal circumstances entitle you to operate outside the rules that every other resident follows, then I would strongly encourage you to consider whether this community is the right fit for your family. She called an emergency meeting of the full Homeowners Association, packed the community recreation center with 60 residents, stood at the front of the room and announced, into a microphone, that I was attempting to use a legal loophole involving a child's medical condition to extort financial concessions from the community. I was in the back of that room. So was my attorney. So was my voice recorder, which is entirely legal to operate in a non-private Virginia gathering. She spent her career tracking financial networks, document fraud, and institutional corruption. When I finished explaining what Patricia had been doing, my mother was quiet for several seconds. Then she said, very calmly, "Send me everything you have." She pulled public records from the Fairfax County Assessor's Office. She contacted former board members. She cross-referenced HOA meeting minutes with financial disclosures. The hearing date arrived on a gray Tuesday morning. My attorney and I sat at the plaintiff's table. Patricia sat at the defendant's table with her HOA retained attorney. Lily was with me. We had discussed it. Using her AAC device, she had told me clearly that she wanted to be present. She pressed the button that said, "They should have to see me." Patricia Holloway walked past us on her way toward her attorney. She stopped. She leaned down toward Lily's wheelchair and said, at a volume that carried clearly, "You know, sweetheart, your daddy is causing a lot of trouble for a lot of good people." Then she grabbed the armrest. Judge Reeves looked at Patricia with an expression that I can only describe as the complete absence of patience. She said, "Ma'am, step back from that child right now." And at that exact moment, The courtroom doors at the back of the gallery opened. My mother walked in. She placed the portfolio in front of my attorney without a word. My attorney opened it, read the first 3 pages, and immediately requested a 30-minute continuance. On the drive home, Lily picked up her backup AAC device and pressed a button. The device said, in its calm, synthesized voice, "We won." She thought for a moment. Then she pressed another button. "Grandma is scary." I laughed for the first time in months.